TNFM, we're back here again at the impzonepod, and here to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. Today, I want to talk about the fans are tired of the shenanigans-laden matches. And again, I think when you're seeing a TV match, or maybe even some, if you're on the pre-show or whatever of some of the more B pay-per-views or whatever, I think fans can be like, okay, we understand, we're trying to build up to a bigger, better moment or whatever else it is. But that's the thing, when you're getting to those bigger and better moments, yes, when you have a faction, it is, or when you have had these interference-laden matches, it's usually because you have that heater for the heel. So now, okay, cool, we've got to have a match where that heater or those heaters or that faction or whatever can't get involved. So that now we can't have, this, match that's laden with interference, and we have a definitive winner without the interference and without all the shenanigans and without all the hoopla and carry on or something or whatever. Because it makes the babyface look super strong in defeating, the faction or taking out the heater or whatever. And it certainly gets a big pop and whatnot. But I think I don't know whether now it's such a big pop because it's more it's huzzah, finally we're not going to have much more interference or any interference in this match. The fans are finally just cool. The rest of the match is going to be, just between the heel and the face, and we're going to have a definitive finish here at some point. So I think and this is the thing, I think interference-laden matches are overdone, and I think they've been around for so long as well. It's one of those things that it's fans are just tired of seeing the same sort of thing. It's always the same sort of thing. But again, it's you can't, this is the thing, people forget about this. You can't just have matches. You can't just have matches that don't mean anything. You've got to have a good guy and you've got to have a bad guy. Whether there's some grayscale stuff going on or whatever else, that's, something a little bit different. But still, you've still got to have a clear person that is the person people want to root for, because they're going to root for somebody either way. Sometimes they root for the person that you don't expect or whatever. But it is usually, the thing of the heel to say, well, you're going to get cheered, or you might get cheered out there. Go get some booze. Go cut a promo, or go do some stuff, or wear, the jersey of the next town over who just beat their football team or whatever, things like that, or whatever, or flaunt the jacket of their football team or something, things like that, or whatever, I don't know. Things like that, you've got to go out there and get heat so that, this match is going the right way, and people are, cheering for the right person and not just cheering you because they think you're cool or think you're whatever, this or that or whatever, So, yeah, absolutely. But fans, I think, overall fans want to see, these, clear-cut matches. And I think people have got to get more creative. So we've seen a lot of, shenanigans with, hidden weapons or whatever else, that sort of thing, or with that sort of stuff. But I do think that's, even though that's overdone somewhat too, I feel like at least it's a little less overdone than what, it is for, the interference with, a faction or with a heater or whatever. But then again, I don't know whether you can get as much out of it. I don't know, because maybe you can by suddenly disarming the heel or suddenly revealing it and then getting it to hit the heel or whatever else it is, because you want to get the heel to have a few hits with it before, it gets revealed or to referee or whatever. But for that, you really kind of need the referee to be distracted or be down for a few minutes or whatever it is or whatnot, so that you can get your licks back in or whatever else it is, that sort of thing. Or you've got to have a very specific match where it's okay, this is the expectation where the fans get what they want, where it's like, no, it's a steel cage or whatever. It's this thing where, this is the end of the feud and the babyface is finally going to get one over on the heel and whatnot, all that sort of stuff or whatnot. So that's the sort of thing where I think that's why we build to these matches where it's like finally after weeks and weeks and months of whatever it is of shenanigans and whatnot, finally the babyface overcomes all the odds or whatever else it is, or gets the heel in a position where they can overcome them because the odds are evened and whatnot. So now it's like, okay, cool. Now we've seen that. Now we can move on and now we can do something else or whatever it is. But yeah, like I think it's tough to keep people's attention and affection or whatever, or what would you say, like yeah, just not, fans aren't apathetic to 100%, but it's like, again, fans don't want to see this thing for weeks and weeks and months. They just want to see the finish of it. They just want to see it done and dusted and then say, okay, now as a story, we can look back on it as a story or a part of a story in a chapter and say, okay, that was cool for what it was. Like they had a journey and a destination. It took them 2 or 3 months to get there, but finally it's over. Fans don't want to care while it's happening. They care after it's kind of happened, which is weird. But it's one of those weird things that happens in wrestling, I think, where it's like once something is finished, or seemingly finished at least for now, it's like, okay, cool, we can stop caring about that thing because now it's like a part of the past or whatever it is. So everything that happened with that feud or whatever else it is mostly in the past. Like it might come back again, but like, for now it's over till later on. So now we don't need to worry about like them having another. But then you've always got the heel with the heater or with the faction or whatever moving on to the next babyface. So then you've got to go and do the same thing with another babyface. So it's like, yes, you might have finished it with one babyface or whatever it is or whatever. But now here comes another one and it's a rinse and repeat. It's like, oh, okay, what's the difference then? You know what I mean? Like, so what if we've got another babyface and I really like this guy or whatever else it is, if you're going to just do the same thing with them that you did with the last person, even if it's something that I would go, oh, cool, they finally beat him or whatever else it is, it's the problem of fans understanding the game a little bit more now, where it's like they understand that this is a thing for them to kind of get invested in. But it's like, well, we're invested, so just let us have the payoff, type thing. Fans are just like, we know where this is going and what you're trying to do, and we understand that, but like, we just want to see the payoff. We don't care about the rest, So it's like, yeah, it's a tough balancing act. Plus, again, I think that fans, like I said, fans' sense of like booking or whatever, and sense of attention or whatever else is a lot shorter now, so you've got to condense things a lot more so that fans can see, okay, this happens, that happens, cool, it's going to resolute next month, not in 3 months, not in 6 months, not in a year or whatever else it is, or even longer. Like, it's funny though that the Roman Reigns like title experiment, whatever, for 4 years or whatever it was like really successful, but it always had something else kind of going along in it. You had the whole stuff with Sami Zayn and whatnot. So it was like, there's something else. Now you have the stuff with Kevin Owens, and you have stuff with, Cody Rhodes, and then you have like some other stuff. You have Daniel Bryan, you have some other stuff here and there throughout, whatever. So there's always somebody else, something else, like you're always feeding something else to that machine or to that thing where it's like, all these people come. And again, that's a great way to push people into that main event or try to push people into that main event picture when you've got that main event heel that is dominant, and it's like, cool, they're running the show, and now we can build up all these baby faces underneath them, and eventually one of them's going to really break out, and then we're going to go from there, But yeah, like, again, I think fans are just like mostly on a different wavelength, especially the younger fans. I think they want things much more here and now rather than, having, and again, I don't 100% agree with any of that. I do think patience is a virtue, and seeing the story through to the end is good or whatever, but I do understand, like, and I do think that this is what wrestling bookers today have to think about. They have to think about, like, how you're gonna deliver something and whatnot, and what, not just what the perception of it is, like, in a sense, but like how it makes the fans feel. It's like you can't dangle them, like the same. You can't dangle them a carrot for too long. You've got to say, okay, cool, you're gonna get a good bite of that carrot that you want, so we'll give that to you, and we'll see you down the road for the next thing. It's going to be the same thing when you say, okay, here's this person. They beat this person in the upper card or the mid card or whatever it is, and then they have a main event feud waiting for them with somebody else that they have to then conquer. It's like there's a very much sameness about everything where it's like, oh yes, they just did this in the mid card or in the upper card or whatever it is, and now they've got to do it again here in the main event scene or whatever it is. Or they'll have to do it again in 6 months or whatever it is, where it's like, oh, okay, cool. Now we're going to build back to this person, or now we're going to build to another person, or now we're going to do something else, or whatever it is. So, yeah, you're always having to do those different things that keep people, like, not just there, but engaged in what you're doing and caring about who they're seeing and why they're seeing them. So it's like, at least the fans actually care, and it's not just them watching things that are like, oh man, we've seen all this before, it's even with this person, let alone with the last 2 or 3 people that, or whatever it's been, or the last decade of people, or the last whatever number of people that have been here in this company. So again, that's what you've got to have with people, or with your fans. You've got to have that sense of, well, it might change. You never know what's going to happen. What story are we trying to tell, and why, and where, and how, and all that. It's not just, you've got to let the fans into that, like, space of understanding. This is what it is. This is the game that you're trying to play with people. Well, not the game, but like the story that you're trying to showcase to people. You're not giving up on this person, or you're not just rehashing things or whatever else it is, but you've got to be like going, yeah, but what else are we meant to do with them? We're meant to just have them there and they exist and not have challengers for them, and again, like, you want this person to be the shining light or whatever else it is of the company. Then as equally, they've got to have their Joker, they've got to have their Riddler, they've got to have their whatever to their Batman, or to their Superman, their Lex Luthor, or whatever else it is, their, whatever it is, Dr. Ock to their Spider-Man, or whatever else it is, or Green Goblin, or whatever it is. You've got to have that villain there for the babyface to overcome, and you've got to have the fans there to invest into that, so that it's like, okay, cool, or here's this other person, here comes, it's almost like a multiverse in some way. It's like, what if this other person, and that's like some of the most interesting things sometimes is like, what if this person got way more over, or sold way more merch, or whatever it was. Or what if this was the plan all along, but then this was like, then this other thing became the plan, because suddenly somebody got way more over, or whatever it was, than what we thought they would, or whatever, and they did the thing, and that's how it happened, or whatever it is. So again, it's like saying, well, where are we at? Why are we at? How are we at? Etc. So yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, guys, I do think that the fans overall are just like it's hard to please people. It's hard to please people all the time. That's the thing. Like, you know, and that's why, again, when I see some of this commentary and whatnot of people saying, oh, this was bad or that was bad or what, you know, you don't understand why you're seeing these things. You like, I understand what you want to see, but that's not just what you're going to see. You've got to see these ups and downs and ins and outs. And again, when, like we learned the other day, why the tag titles were taken off the Inspiration, because they're basically their contracts are up and they're leaving. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, we've got to take these belts off of you and we've got to put them on somebody else. And here we go. All right, you're on the Elegance brand now because they're basically the only other team that we've got. And we have some other heel teams or whatever. Is it the Diamond Collective? I think they've been called now with Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford and all that. And you've got babyface team in Mila Moore and Harley Hudson. I don't even think they have a tag team name, but yeah. And it looks like Indy Hartwell might be a tag team person or something or whatever for a little while or something else. I don't know, whatever. We'll wait and see. But yeah, like again, these are the things. You're trying to give people something to work with for the time. And I said this before. It's like when you're giving people something else, like a mid-card title, it's for them to work with something else or whatever else it is. Because again, it's not just saying, oh, well, we can give you a bunch of feuds that don't really mean anything or don't really lead anywhere. Yeah, sure, we can do that. Or we can put you in the mid-card and give you a title to chase for 6 months or whatever it is. And even if you're not going to get it or whatever it is, that at least we've got something for you. Like, it might not be the best thing, but who knows? At least it is something. I don't know. But anyway, guys, yeah, I understand you guys all know this. You're all very smart and whatnot. But I love to talk about wrestling, and I can't help myself, so I have to come on here and talk about it. So, yeah. But I hope you've enjoyed it either way, and I hope you join me again in another one.